Hey everyone, welcome back. I almost feel weird saying welcome back because I'm the one who's been gone for so long off of YouTube, but a lot has happened. I graduated and I am officially a school counselor. I also have officially accepted a position as a high school counselor. So as you can tell, a lot has been going on and I had to take a little break from YouTube while I finished out my program and applied to jobs and all of that. But with all of the things that have been happening, I've also learned a lot along the way and I want to share it all with you. So today I'm going to be talking about the 5 things that I learned while searching for jobs and applying for jobs as a counselor. Like I mentioned, I am a school counselor specifically, so some of these may apply to all different fields of counseling, while others might be more specific to school counseling, but either way, I hope you enjoy and get something out of it. But yeah, also before I forget, I had been planning to do some sort of giveaway for hitting 400 subscribers as a way to say thank you to all who have been watching, commenting, sharing, and also scheduling Zoom meetings with me. I've loved getting to work with you all and getting to meet you, well, not really face-to-face, but sort of face-to-face over Zoom. The weird thing is when I was planning to do this was a few months ago when I posted my last video for hitting 400 subscribers shortly after that, and now I'm pretty close to 500, so I guess we'll call this the 400/500 subscriber giveaway. I'll definitely be doing more in the future. But for this one, in my previous video, I talked about some books that I highly recommend to people who are considering being a counselor, a therapist, or a psychologist, anything like that. And as I mentioned in the video, my favorite therapist type book of all time, and my favorite author of these type of books too, is The Gift of Therapy, an open letter to a new generation of therapists and their patients by Dr. Irvin Yalom. This is a brand new copy that I am planning to give away. So I hadn't really thought about this in advance, how I'm going to do this, but I guess let's make it fun. Comment down below on this video what type of counseling field you're interested in, or psychology field, whatever you are interested in pursuing for a graduate program or just for a career in general. Comment that down below in the comments on this video, and that'll be your way of entering the giveaway. I will then put all of the names together of people who have entered and randomly generate one on June 1st, so you have until June 1st to enter to win a copy of that book. So have fun. Another thing I wanted to mention is I am still doing Zoom appointments and scheduling through Calendly. I will put the link down below in the description box. Okay, now jumping into the good stuff, the 5 things that I learned while applying for jobs. I've had a few people comment on my videos and ask, should I go to graduate school in the state I intend to practice in? And previously I had said no, it doesn't really matter. Yes, that would be helpful since you're building your connections in the state you're going to practice in. That helps a lot and goes a long way. But in the end, it doesn't really matter. I take that back. I learned in the job search that you should, if you can at all help it, go to school in the state you intend to practice in. Of course, it's possible to move to a different state after, and that happens all the time as people need to move throughout different stages of their life. I would say try to avoid it if you can, if you have the option to, because it's going to save you probably a lot of hassle. I also noticed that, at least in my experience, I had a little bit of a harder time with applying to different states. Aside from Arizona, I applied to jobs in 2 other states, and I had no luck whatsoever with any of the jobs in the 2 other states. Of course, I don't know. I can only really hypothesize why that is. I mean, of course, it's possible that my resume and background didn't really fit what they were looking for, but aside from that, I think there's a lot more that goes into it when you are switching states. So keep in mind, as a new grad, I was applying to jobs while still in school, so not officially certified as a school counselor. And that's pretty typical, but I think when applying to other states, that kind of leaves too much up to chance from the eyes of the people who are hiring in the other states. For example, will I really move there? Will they need to do like a Zoom interview when they were planning to do in person? If I get certified in my state, will that certification transfer easily to the other state? And then not only that, there's also some different laws in some states where you have to be a teacher first before becoming a school counselor. So there's just a lot of different factors in transferring states. So if you can at all help it, I would say go to grad school in the state that you intend to practice in after school. The next one is more specific to school counselors, but my second thing that I learned is that you should start applying no later than March for jobs, even though you're technically not graduating until May. Also keep in mind, especially if you're doing school counseling, most jobs are going to want like 2 to 3 recommendation letters. So you should ask for those by February, I would say, just to give your recommenders enough time to write a substantial letter. For example, I was hired by early April, so all of it happens pretty quickly, and I think this could get some people into a bit of a difficult situation if they're not aware that this is how it works. They might wait until May or after they graduate and then start applying to jobs, and by then a lot of the positions have already been filled and they may not have as many options as they would have had they started in March. The third one is you should definitely keep in touch with your past supervisors for practicum, internship, or any prior jobs or research assistantships you might have had. Honestly, you should do this regardless because it's just nice to keep up those professional connections, but especially during this time because you may be needing to ask them for a recommendation. The fourth one, and this is pretty similar to the advice I give on taking the GRE, but I think it's best to take whatever comprehensive exams you're eligible for right after graduating or shortly before usually. The graduate program I went through requires taking and passing at least one comprehensive exam in order to graduate. So for the school counseling specialization students, that was the Praxis, and then for the counseling, just mental health counseling students, that was the NCE. However, I was eligible to take both the Praxis and the NCE, and I did both of those in April. While the NCE is not required for school counselors and the Praxis is only required of school counselors in certain states, Arizona is not one. It's not a state requirement, it was a program requirement. I still say take the Praxis and the NCE, whichever one you're eligible for, even if you don't think you'll need it or your state doesn't require it. I just think it's best to do these straight after school when everything's fresh in your mind rather than later. And you never know, the Praxis or whatever other exam you're planning on taking might be required in a state that you decide to move to down the road. And while it might not be technically required of you, you can get extra credentials, which is always nice and gives you more options potentially. For example, passing the NCE can give you the NCC credential, so Nationally Certified Counselor. That's if you've graduated from a KCREP accredited program. That's another reason why I say KCREP accreditation in your program is something to pay attention to and can be quite important. So just something to keep in mind. I know comprehensive exams are tough and not necessarily fun, but I think they are worth it. And the last one, number 5, I know some people may not be as familiar with what's required of them in an application for a school counseling job. Definitely feel confident or comfortable in your interviewing skills before going into it. Have a current resume ready for applications and also a cover letter. Most, if not all, schools I applied to wanted a cover letter, and then, as I mentioned earlier, usually 3 recommendation letters. In addition, specifically to school counseling jobs, it's not unusual for them to ask you to do like a demonstration of a school counseling lesson or lesson plan for a part of the interviewing process. Honestly, by the time you're getting close to finishing your graduate program, you've kind of acquired all of these things. You've learned about lesson plans if you're a school counselor, creating lessons, you have a resume probably, all of that. It's kind of already done, so it may just be a matter of tweaking some things, or you can create something all new too. But definitely be prepared to have all of those things and have them ready when you're applying for jobs. And that's all I have for you guys. I hope it was helpful to you, especially if you are getting ready to graduate soon or are starting to think about applying to jobs. Don't forget, if you want to be entered to win the little giveaway of the Gift of Therapy book, please comment down below by June 1st. That's when I'll be picking the name. And just comment what field of psychology or counseling you are interested in. And with all of that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.